All right, hello and welcome everybody. This is week 4 of CSL Fortnite. My name is Dan Danner's Banner, going to be bringing you the action here from the point of views of either Syrian Beauty and Swell and Intrinsic, of course, both members of our CS Gaming Fortnite team. Syrian Beauty are coming off of a pretty good week last week where they had gotten, I think, third and first respectively. I know they did manage to pick up a W in that final game of the week. Swollen Intrinsic had a bit of a rougher week last week, but they did get top 8, I believe, in the last game where they got 6th, I believe. So wish I had an actual scoreboard to show you guys in terms of where that places them, but unfortunately this is the cards we're dealt for today. But anyway, Swollen Intrinsic dropping in pretty early here. Dirty Doc's going to be their landing point. Meanwhile, Syrian Beauty going a little bit further down towards the center of the map, if anything. Of course, on the right-hand side, we are in the point of view of Swell. We get to see him start trying to find some loot. He's going to get himself at least a little bit to start fighting with, and some shields too, so that's pretty nice to get started off with. Nice chest after chest. You can tell these guys know where they're going, where all the good stuff is. And speaking of good stuff, how about that bigger potion there for them to top off at 100-100. Swell is completely set up and ready to go. Could only just really improve on some weapons. Meanwhile, on the side of Syrian Beauty, they have landed, and you just see here that Siri picking up some potions. He's actually got quite a few, so him and his teammates Beauty going to be able to get some early, or load up on some early potions at least. And since there's only 50 players in the lobby today, it's going to be a little bit quieter of a match for these guys. The chance of you landing somewhere that nobody else is much higher. So as we see right now, they are able to essentially completely loot this entire area without any sort of confrontation from anybody, which is definitely going to set them up for the late game, because especially with the playstyle that we have been seeing from our CS Gaming squads, both of them tend to do this, where it's more about like staying safe early, trying not to find as many engagements, and then just trying to get to that final area when the storm gets so small and just out-heal your way to victory. I know that's what Syrian Beauty did last week, and it did get them a W in that week. Now, the first, somewhat cool weapon has come out on the side of Swell and Intrinsic, because that's Swell with a rocket launcher, so that will definitely come in handy once the build battles start getting up later in the game. Then the side of Syrian Beauty, we do have, I think it's a blue assault rifle. I'm just trying to see, yeah, that is an assault rifle there for Siri, so pretty decent weapon for himself, while also being loaded up with a green rocket launcher and continuing just find chest after chest. He's exactly where he needs to be. Burst assault rifle, probably going to pass that over to Beauty. And of course, in between chests, it's just constantly looting for days. And there's another rocket launcher, small little upgrade there for Siri. Unfortunately here for our CS Gaming squad, the storm did not spawn in a spot that's going to benefit them really that much. Both of them are going to have to get moving sometime soon, as about 40 seconds from now that storm is going to start making its way in. But of course it is very slow to start things off, so they still have some decent time. And they're going to use that time, at least for Syrian Beauty, they're going to use that time to get some fishing in. if you can find yourself a fish or two to try and heal up in the end game, that would be clutch, as long as you can keep yourself safe until then. Okay, and sure enough, they did end up finding a couple fish, so Syrian Beauty slowly but surely trying to find their way, like, get the right load up, set up for later on. As the clock ticks down, Storm's going to get moving. They've got 3 minutes to try and get into that safe zone. And kind of looking at the positions that both these teams have landed in, there's a chance that they could find each other on the way there, which of course, even though both, I had mentioned it before in other casts, but because these guys are both a part of Saints Gaming, doesn't mean that they get to stay on the same team once the game starts. If they see each other, they do technically have to like take them out in the end. So with both of the teams coming from the west side, or no, the east side rather. Yeah, east side. Both coming east, going west. There's a chance they could run into each other. So as Syrian Beauty take the river, Swollen and Intrinsic are just slowly but surely starting to get moving across the fields. And they have a little bit of time to try and check out some extra places for loot if they want to. The Storm is tailing them, but it's, of course, like I was saying before, pretty slow, so they could probably take a stop real quick and then keep on moving. And sure enough, this place hasn't even been touched, so Swollen Intrinsic going to be able to find themselves some healing equipment, actually. Between the shields and the med kit, that's going to be extremely useful for them in the future as the conflicts do start arising. We started with 50, we are now down to 40, 10 people down. And before this first storm phase does complete, and looks like Syrian Beauty have made it to the safe zone. They're just about there, checking the area before zip-lining down, possibly. Now, Swollen Intrinsic, with the Storm on their heels, Intrinsic, I think, is actually going to start taking damage from the Storm. They waited maybe a touch too long. They should be able to survive this, but they are going to take a little bit of damage for it, unfortunately. Yeah, that Storm position just did not favor them, and they moved ever so slightly too late. There's an airdrop actually right in front of them, too, so they're going to possibly try and hustle, see if they can get a piece of that, but of course those airdrops everybody can see, and it is basically a beacon saying, hey, there's good stuff here. Someone's probably going to try and take this. Keep an eye on it. So that could be nerve-wracking, and that spawn position of the Storm is actually just terrible. Meanwhile, in the meantime, Syrian Beauty getting into the first engagement of the day on the left-hand side, where someone was building behind them as they just escaped from the Storm. They tried to get a couple pot shots on them, but was not successful. As they continue to look and try and find the other players or try to run away, it is going to be Swell going to get himself another purple rocket launcher, going to probably pass that over to his teammate, and the shields on top of that. So they, after a little bit of a rough patch through the Storm, they are going to come out of this with 100-100 as long as they can get back into the safe zone for this next phase, as they have about a minute to go essentially across the map. This is going to be a rough one for them. Even Syrian Beauty have a heck of a hike to try and get to this safe zone. But at least if they're halfway by the time that timer ticks down, they should be in good shape. And Siri finding somebody, just firing off a few warning shots, it looks like. A few warning shots, then back to farming as he's sitting out at like over 700 brick. Yeah. Everybody doing a pretty decent job of getting as much resources as possible. Swell loading up with fishies. Got 4 of them so far. We have 4 shields on him too, so he's got plenty of medical supplies if need be. And we might have ourselves a little bit of a battle here for Swell. There is somebody building stairs alongside them. Let's see if we can possibly see what happens here if they try to move forward on them. Intrinsic is right beside Swell, so this very well could turn in their favor if they happen to get the jump on somebody, but I think that was a boat just a little bit further down the side that did take off with one of the players. And sure enough, yeah, as they move closer and closer to this storm safe zone, there's going to be much more players here. We only lost 3 other players since that last one. We're sitting at 37 right now. So 37 players getting sucked in slowly but surely, closer and closer in that storm zone. Yeah, Syrian Beauty seem to have made it to the storm zone, or the safe zone, no problem. As we see here with Swell and Intrinsic, since they know that people were nearby, something as small as crossing the road can be absolutely terrifying. 2 more actually go down, so we're down to 35 players in this match. Storm on Swell and Intrinsic's tails once again. They're coming in hot from the east again. The safe zone is in sight, but Storm, it's looking like it might just barely touch them, maybe not. Of course, it does speed up a little bit compared to the last time, but it looks like they are going to take either minimal or no damage as long as the other players don't shoot at them, which it looks like they did just spot somebody off to the left-hand side. There's the safe zone, Intrinsic. Does he get tagged at all? It's close. I'm looking at that map. That storm is right there. But it looks like they're going to be just fine. And of course, right dead center in that storm, the new storm zone, the safe zone, is another air package. So this is the point in the game where now everybody's loaded up. They've got pretty much all the weapons they need. Sometimes maybe not as much as they would want, but I know if we're looking at Swell's loadout right here, right now, he's got basically greens. Of course, he'd want something a little bit better if necessary, but at least you got something. But this is where it starts getting crazy. Everybody's loaded up. It's time to start building their forts and try to take the guess where that storm is going to be next in terms of the safe zone. If you happen to build your fort and it just is in the perfect spot to stay to the point where you don't have to move when the next storm shift happens, it'd be clutch. But it is nerve-wracking, as you see there. So while pinging out the one building, we do have rockets actually being launched at Siri and Beauty in the meantime. Luckily, as we see here, Siri's building ability is just pretty clutch, and here we go, get the full screen view of essentially what the horizons look like here for the Saints Gaming squad. At least 4 different structures of teams, with plenty more nearby as well, I'm sure. And it looks like Swell's actually went down off screen. He's down but not out at this point. In the middle of a crossfire between 2 teams, it looks like somebody's building about his partner, but he is going to be found by River AU. But he's going to take him down. Intrinsic still alive here, so we're going to be able to see his point of view as he tries to hang on for dear life with so many players building around him, especially from above. As you see, that's probably his scariest point right here. There's people at the very top of that building. Does use the house for cover and is going to finally having a little bit of an escape route if necessary. So we're going to get to see this battle occur from essentially both point of views, from the top of a tower and from like the ground floor. Now it keeps talking about the reboot card, but I don't think that will be a factor here. Yeah. a producer, or is it producer just pointing out that they very well could have been shooting at each other in that battle. They are pretty much neck and neck with each other in the same area. But unfortunately, that is sometimes the case. Like I was saying earlier, you may both be on Saints Gaming, but in this match, you are 2v2. Doesn't matter if there's 4 of you, and there's no teaming up 2s with other 2s. There's none of that in this league. So it is possible that either Siri or Beauty did pepper Swell there a little bit, but sometimes it'd be like that. Now Siri leaving his post and going for looking for some additional loot. Does find himself a decent amount of medical supplies in this house. And he's in a decent spot. Both these guys actually, Intrinsic and Siri and Beauty, are all in a good position for this next storm switch, as it goes essentially covering all of Holly Hedges. Down to 25, half the field is gone, but as you can hear, the gunshots are flying everywhere. For our Saints, at least, playing it safe overall, which keeping them well overall. Unfortunately, Swell did get caught up as we arrived here at Holly Hedges, but the only thing that matters is where does your last teammate finish. You could have been the first to be eliminated, but if your other teammate wins, you still win. Okay, Intrinsic thinking of something crafty. He was possibly trying to sneak some sort of grenade knockdown with somebody on the upper floors, but I mean, nobody's contesting him. If they don't know you're here, they can't kill you unless it was a stray rocket or something, right? The 40 seconds still on this storm shift, and then it's going to start getting to the point where it starts getting really uncomfortable. As a rocket or something right on the from the left-hand side as we're listening in on Siri and Beauty. Small shots here and there, but they're not committing to anything. Just scouting more than anything, watching everybody else build up around them. Because by them sitting safe like this, not getting caught in any of the conflict, they're saving up all their resources as well. Not just like healing resources, but like building stuff too. So they can move their fort if they need to, as long as they can stay safe in the process, which is what it's going to look like they're going to have to do as the storm gets smaller and smaller, and it's actually not in either of the team's favors, as both Siri Beauty and Intrinsic are going to have to move in this one. Intrinsic still not moving with 10 seconds left, so he's going to maybe try and pull it off a little bit late. He does get some shots off. He does get 31, and he's continuing to pepper somebody. But he's kind of up against 3 at this moment. If he's lucky, this is going to be 2 separate teams battling each other. He could probably sneak himself some damage, as he does manage to poke down some. He's got the guy out of shield, almost taking him down. He hasn't been spotted as of this moment, because all he has is a small wood wall between him and the battle. But the storm is also now on the move. He does have to be careful, and he is going to get moving. Siri and Beauty also on the move as well, but they have just broke in to the safe zone, so they're going to be okay as long as they set up shop. And it looks like they're just about to do so. Somebody right in front of their door. Intrinsic trying his best to find himself a safe spot. Does have a little hut for himself at the moment, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. He doesn't have really too much cover. Maybe one wall is covered by a building, but that's about it. Siri and Beauty looking for blood. We finally have a solid gunfight here. He does find one guy. Gets a good shot with the shotgun off up on him. as we're seeing more and more players fall as well, more and more loot being dropped. They get their, if they're quick enough, they very well could just completely reload their arsenal. No kills at all right now for any of the Saints players as we got ourselves a bit of a shotgun fight. The trap's actually going to come in clutch, and it's going to be, I think that is Beauty going to get a kill, and Siri do get one as well. So I think it's 2 points on the board for Siri and Beauty already as we reach the top 10 players. So far, so good right now for the Saints Gaming squad, just being able to survive this long. But it's going to get even crazier in another 30 seconds. Considering Intrinsic has been basically stuck to the ground floor this entire time, the fact that nobody has spotted him and just like exposed him and like lit him up is just astonishing to me right now. Like, unfortunately, like the cost being that you just don't get into too many confrontations, but you still get solid points. And now with 18 players, not 10. I got baited by the screen, don't mind me. But okay, down to 17 now here in this game. And Siri and Beauty looking for blood, and they're going to try and make sure that they're the kings of the castle. They want to be on top, and they're going to just try and destroy the floor from underneath these guys, and they're going to force to rebuild elsewhere. Okay, Storm gets smaller and smaller again and again. Intrinsic somehow still alive, slowly but surely building a little bit higher. He's in like both the mid-ground. Siri and Beauty actually getting peppered from above. Siri just took a huge chunk of damage. He does have the medical supplies necessary, but any damage you take right now before the storm overwhelms the area is going to make your chances of actually securing that W that much worse. And this is actually getting nuts on the side of Siri and Beauty. The edit, or the wall edits and the shotguns point blank. But everybody still alive right now. Siri looking for the opportunity to heal up, but he has absolutely nothing to deal with his actual health right now. So he's basically, as soon as that storm covers him, it's going to just take him out pretty well instantly. But then looking over at Intrinsic, he doesn't have any healing in terms of his main health. So again, once the storm does overwhelm him, he has nothing to boost that back up unless he can find something on the ground to keep him alive. Beauty is completely out of shields in this engagement. But he does have at least a decent amount of health, but actually in terms of health, Intrinsic is in the best shape. We are down to like a penny of damage, and Intrinsic comes in clutch, getting himself a kill, and he actually has fish. This turned so nice actually for him now, if he can stay safe. Now we're actually down to our top 10. We have 9 people left, and that's Siri going down. Beauty is right there if you could possibly bring him up, but there is still somebody pressuring right in front of him. The door does get slammed in his face. He's just going to try and hug the wall and hope he's out of the storm zone. As you can see, like basically 3 players across is how wide this storm zone is. And Siri and Beauty do go down in 5th place from what looked like a rough spot. Intrinsic is going to put himself in a position that he very well might clutch this out for his team with only 6 players left. But this is the point where some players are either going to just sit back and just play the healing game, or they might go hunting. And there's actually a med kit right there, but the storm kills way too quickly. 6 players still left. Nobody's... Oh, there is actually still gunshots going up, but it's up higher in the battle, like higher in the towers. We are down to 4. He still has 5 fish remaining. How much longer do the other guys have? We just lost 2. Down to 3 players. 2 players, 1 more guy left. And he still has 1 more fish. He has medkit set. That's going to be it. Their Intrinsic's going to clutch this out for the squad, getting his I believe that's their first victory royale of the season. Second. That was Syrian Beauty, though.
Oh, from that.
For Intrinsic and Swell, this is their first victory in the CSL. Absolutely clutching it out. Just took it slow, took it safe, but picked his right moment, went in there, got the kill. I think you picked up like 4 fish at one point or something like that. 8 fish. So it was safe, found his moment, got in there, got the kill, got the loot, and that's going to be Swell and Intrinsic with the clutch from Intrinsic, getting them their first victory in the CSL. Of course, we do still have another game here, another round for CSL week 4. But I think they're going to take about a 5-minute break before we get started into that. So for now, we'll shoot it to a quick break, take a quick drink or whatnot. It should be within 5-10 minutes. We'll get another game started, and we'll see if Saints Gaming can pull this back again, but get themselves another W. But for now, we'll see you soon.